Cam Reddish was a highly touted prospect. However, a combination of bad luck and ego nearly ruined his career until he made the most of his last chance and etched his name in the history books.
Take a look at this.
Move on the baseline there by Reddish.
Wow.
Pulled it back and piked it down.
First, let's see how Reddish developed his obsession with hooping. Number 7. Cam Reddish's early life. Reddish was born in Norristown, Pennsylvania on September 1st, 1999. Although there is an element of randomness when it comes to genetics, it was kind of obvious that Reddish would turn out to be a pretty good athlete, seeing that his mom, Xanathea, is 6 feet tall and his dad, Robert, is 6'8". Reddish has a younger brother, Aaron, who also played high school basketball for the Pebblebrook Falcons in Mableton, Georgia. That team was famous for producing NBA talent Colin Sexton. Reddish's brother is currently a junior for the Albany Great Danes. Now, Reddish essentially grew up with a basketball in his hands. His parents traveled the world as his dad played everywhere from the US to overseas places like Egypt. And Reddish came along to experience the entire journey. By watching his dad play and learning the tricks of the trade from his old man, his passion for basketball began. Number 6. Basketball obsession. Nowadays, people find it hard to focus on just one thing. We live in an age where there are endless possibilities. But for Reddish, he only cared about one thing only: basketball. Music, social media, hanging out with friends, all of that came second to hoops. Reddish even wrote in a piece for the Players Tribune that playing basketball is his heartbeat, and it's been like that since he was an infant. His mom has said that basketball was everything to Reddish. The moment he started to walk, he was dribbling a basketball. As Reddish grew older, his obsession with hoops deepened, and he set his eyes on the ultimate goal of reaching the NBA. His school coaches recall that Reddish would always be in the gym, working on his game as early as 6 in the morning. In fact, his coaches have said that they have never seen a kid practice as much as Reddish did. The amount that he practiced was becoming troublesome, and Reddish was even told that he couldn't come to the gym unless he slept for 8 hours. Now that is what you call true obsession. As a junior, Reddish averaged 16.2 points per game and led the Moose to a Friends School League title. During the summer of 2017, Reddish averaged 23.8 points, 7.6 rebounds, and 3.1 assists for his AAU. Later that summer, he played for the United States men's national under-19 basketball team, and he was originally going to play for the under-17 team the previous summer, but did not make the team due to injury. Apparently, that groin injury was so severe that it almost ended his basketball journey. This is why, even to this date, Reddish doesn't take anything for granted. In his senior year, he averaged 22.6 points and 5.6 rebounds per game. He was named the 2018 Mr. Pennsylvania Basketball. He was also selected to play in the 2018 McDonald's All-American Game, Jordan Brand Classic, and Nike Hoop Summit All-Star Games. He finished his high school career ranked number 3 in the class of 2018 by ESPN, and then he committed to go to Duke, along with the number 1 and number 2 recruits R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson. Number 5. Journey to the NBA. On November 6, 2018, in his Duke debut, Reddish scored 22 points in a 118-84 win over Kentucky at the 2018 Champions Classic. Although Reddish started his college career strong, he quickly fell into a funk. He said he wasn't eating or taking good care of his body, which resulted in him feeling weak and tired all the time. During this time, Reddish leaned on his faith to get him back to who he was. He prayed a lot more and listened to his preacher prior to games. This allowed him not only to mature on the court, but outside of it as well. Overall, Reddish played 36 games as a freshman at Duke. He averaged 13.5 with almost 4 boards and a steal and a half a game. His shooting splits were almost promising, and he looked to be the stereotypical 3-and-D player which all NBA teams value. He even hit a game-winning three-pointer in the final seconds as Duke stunned Florida State in Tallahassee in January. Reddish finished his college career being named to the All-ACC Honorable Mention team, after which he declared for the NBA, and what looked to be a smooth transition to the big league ended up being a roller coaster ride with plenty of ups and many more downs. Number 4. Rollercoaster NBA Career. On June 20th, 2019, Reddish was selected by the Atlanta Hawks with the 10th overall pick in the 2019 NBA Draft. Now, on paper, it seemed like the ideal place for him. He would be paired with a young playmaking star like Trae Young, who would unlock Reddish's 3-and-D abilities and turn him into a beast. And there were flashes of greatness here and there. He even dropped 36 points as a member of the Hawks. However, a mix of unlucky injuries and a crowded wing rotation never allowed Reddish to flourish. In 2022, he demanded a trade and was shipped off to the New York Knicks. But once again, injuries rear their ugly head and he would miss the rest of the 2022 season due to a shoulder injury. The very next year, Reddish started to show off good defensive ability and was part of the Knicks rotation. However, over a span of a few weeks, his minutes were drastically reduced and soon he found himself out of the rotation. As a young player in the NBA, you only get a handful of chances, and it was looking like Reddish was running out of lives as he was traded to the Portland Trail Blazers. He spent the rest of 2023 showcasing his defensive abilities, and when the 2023-2024 season started, an unlikely team decided to take a chance at the still young player. On July 6, 2023, Reddish signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. What at first many thought would be a rehabilitation project, as the Lakers in the past had fixed reputations of several players, quickly turned into a vital reason why the Lakers won the inaugural in-season tournament. Reddish went from just another guy at the end of the bench to a starter and the main wing defender for the Lakers. In doing so, he helped the Lakers add another banner to their already historic legacy. And no doubt, Reddish will be rewarded handsomely for his troubles. Number 3, NBA contract. Reddish came into the league on a 4-year, $19.3 million contract. He was then retained by the Hawks for a 1-year deal worth $2.3 million. A drastic drop-off from what many figured he would be worth by the time he entered contract negotiation. But that's the price you pay when you can't stay healthy and be consistent. After the Hawks, the Knicks retained Reddish's services for a 1-year, $3.9 million deal. Since then, he has signed a 2-year, $4.6 million deal with the Lakers. Despite Reddish's career not panning out as he had hoped, all the money he has made so far has been guaranteed. So even with all the ups and downs, he has secured over $30 million. Once he found his role in the NBA, he can continue to see the checks rolling in. And if you're wondering what Reddish likes to do with his millions, well, your guess will be as good as ours, as he is a very private person off the court. Number 2, off the court. Nowadays, everyone seems to have multiple social media accounts and is always online trying to bolster their following. But Reddish is not one of these people. He has a Twitter but isn't very active, and surprisingly, he does not have an Instagram account. He used to in the past, but he decided to delete it altogether. Maybe we should follow his lead, as after getting off of social media, his career started to take off. But in interviews, he has said that when he isn't working on his game, which he does most of the time, he enjoys playing video games like 2K and hanging out with his teammates. He is also a big music fan, and Playboi Carti and Gunna are always in rotation. Reddish also has his own charity called the Reddish Family Foundation, which does food drives in the Norristown area and gives back to people in need. Now, with all of that being said, let's take a look at his net worth. Number 1, his net worth. Reddish has had quite an interesting NBA career. All the ups and downs might have built mental fortitude, but it didn't help his bank account as much. Still, Reddish has made over $30 million in his career. However, around half of that has to go to taxes. But Reddish did have a Nike deal when he was first drafted, which could have cushioned some of that blow. Once again, though, all those ups and downs stopped Reddish from gaining proper momentum and getting more endorsement deals. But still, with all of that being said, we would estimate that his net worth is somewhere around the $10 to $12 million mark.